All right, hello and welcome to the video. So in this video, we're going to be solving the advice slip challenge. And in this challenge, we're going to be using this advice slip API. So we can jump over here to the API page, and this is the page for the advice slip JSON API. And as you'll see, we have a few different methods here that this API documentation provides for us. We have a random advice method, an advice by ID method, and a searching advice method. And all of these methods are basically just making GET requests to URLs. And because of that, we can actually just click on these URLs, which are hyperlinks, to view them in the browser. And these will, of course, basically just make a GET request to this URL when we visit the URL, and then it will display the results for us here. So we can see we have an advice: if you don't want something to be public, don't post it on the internet. Quite good advice. And if we refresh, we will get a new advice: if you are feeling down, try holding a pencil between your top lip and your nose for 5 minutes. I will let you try that one out on your own. And so this is how we can use the /advice path to fetch new advice. All right, and so coming back to our challenge, we want to create a class advice slip, which is going to implement this interface right here. So we can have class advice slip, and this is going to implement our advice slip class interface, which means we need a method get random advice. And this method is what is going to handle calling our advice slip API. So let's just start out with a try catch, just in case we get any errors. So we can come back to this later. And so here we are going to go ahead and make a request to our /API route. So I'm going to come over here and just grab this URL like that. I just copied that to the clipboard. So we have URL is this, and we want to say response is equal to await fetch URL. And then, as you'll see in this hint right here, we need to convert our response to get the JSON body. And you might have noticed that, in fact, not only does this look like JSON, but I have a nice JSON browser extension installed here, which actually lets me kind of preview the JSON in a nicer way by having some highlighting and also allowing me to collapse different pieces of it like that. For this small piece of JSON, that's not very significant, but you can imagine if the JSON was a very large data structure with a lot of content, it could be helpful to be able to collapse pieces of it and browse around and have some color text highlighting. So that the point is that this response is in fact JSON data, and so we want to convert the response to JSON by calling .json. And so we can do that by calling await response.json, because of course the JSON method returned a promise, so we need to await it. And then we want to be returning this advice object from our function, and the advice object contains an ID and an advice. And if we look back here at our result, we see we have an ID and an advice, and they are both on this slip key right here. So we need to go ahead and grab the slip key and just get this object that it contains, and that's going to be our advice. So we can just return data.slip like that. And for now, I'm just going to log out. An error occurred. Let's get the error message. All right. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and run our tests, and we will see that this passes the tests. All right, that's great. And just to demonstrate what we're doing here, let's go ahead and create a new instance of our class and call the get random advice method. And then let's also just console.log our data right here. So if we do that, we will see that we get our object right here with the slip key, and inside of that is some advice, and this is a very appropriate advice. It always seems impossible until it's done. Okay, so with that, it seems like a perfect way to wrap up this challenge video, and we will see you in the next challenge.